Hi there, Sugar Snaps. Today I'm going to share a little bit about block printing inks, different types of block printing inks, how to use them, some color mixing tips and tricks, a recipe card hack for using when you want to mix your own colors and repeat those colors. Let's dive into all of that now. When starting out in block printing, I suggest getting the primary colors in black and white. So that would be red, blue, and yellow, black and white. And from these colors, you can make a variety of different shades, hues, and tints. A shade is where you're adding a color with black and you're getting a darker version of that color. A tint is where you're adding white with the color and you're getting a lighter version of that color. And a hue is where you're mixing two colors together and you're getting a different color. So this is basic color theory, but here we have red and yellow, and we'll mix this guy together and we're going to get an orange. And the amount of yellow or red that you add to it will change the hue that you get from it. So this is kind of a dark reddish orange. I'll add a little bit more yellow to get more of a pumpkin orange. So there is orange, and that's made out of the red and the yellow. And now let's mix this blue and red, which makes purple. And this one is going to be a deep purple. You can see the blue kind of overtakes this and almost makes it look black. So we'll add a bit more red if you want to have more of a red purple or a true purple. So I'll add a bit of red here. And we end up with a deep burgundy purple. Now the black and the red, when you mix a black with a color, use more of the color than the black. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this black and move it into the red because the black will overtake the color if you add too much. White and the color makes a lighter version, so this will end up at pink. And the more white, the paler your color will get, or the more pastel-y. So we have a nice rose pink here. And then blue and yellow together make green, and you can add more blue if you want more of a teal color, or more yellow if you want more of a lime color. Here we have kind of a deep lime green from the equal parts blue and yellow. And again, another shade, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of the black into the blue to create a navy. And then next, another tint. This one will do baby blue or sky blue. And then a tint of the yellow. We're going for a lemony yellow, almost butter yellow. And then finally, you mix black and white together and you end up with a gray shade. And this could be a total grayscale depending on how much you add of white and black. And you can see here, doing equal parts of white and black, end up with a deep charcoal, almost black color. If we add a little bit more white here, do a little dollop here on the end, and just use what's on the end of my brush here, I can get a lighter gray. So more of a dove gray. There. You can get all of these different colors and multiple different versions of the color depending on how much you add using just these 5 colors. Now, as you're mixing inks and creating your own colors for your block prints, I would suggest starting to create a paint recipe card. Write out the recipe that you're using and do a little dollop of paint. So I'm going to create a little recipe card here with the color. I'll have my little color block and then say how much of each of the color I use. So I used red and yellow for this first color, and I used 1 part of each. And now I'll take my paintbrush, make sure that it's nice and mixed up so I get an accurate representation, and I'll fill this box in with the color and then sit this aside to dry. Because it's oil paint, it will take a couple days to dry, but you'll have a nice picture of what color you created by mixing these two. So you can reference these cards as you're creating inks for your block printing projects. And I'll do one of these cards for each of these ink mixtures, and then I'll be able to reference them when I want to create something new. When you are mixing paints and you find a recipe that you like, a mixture of the different inks, try to write it down and keep a swatch so that you can recreate that ink. Especially if you're printing large pieces, you'll probably need to mix multiple batches of ink, or if you want to recreate the color, then you'll have your nice little recipe card and you can recreate that. Now, in order to know how much you use as you're experimenting, just have a little piece of scratch paper beside you and note down, I used 1 part blue, 1 part yellow, and then add anything that you add to that mixture as you're working, so that you can then estimate out how much you used of each one. And I am doing that by taking the tube and just putting down a little dollop and then estimating the same amount of the next amount of ink. So I have 2 dollops and they're about the same size. That's 1 part of each. You can double that, you can do a quarter size, you can play with the proportions to get the different colors that you want. Check the resources in the description below for links to all these different block printing inks, as well as some others available on the market. You can sign up for my email update list. There's a link in the description below to get notified of new tutorials, resources, information, and inspiration. I'd love for you to join the textile indie community by doing that. Like this video if you enjoy block printing and want to see more block printing videos and other fiber art videos. And subscribe and hit the bell to get notified whenever I put out a new video. Thanks so much for watching. I love having you here. I'll see you next time. Happy block printing.